My name is Darryn. I am currently a student at Varsity College. I study IT management. Part-time, I work at Butler's Pizza, and for those of you who want to know, I do wear a rather cool outfit. My parents lived originally in Greenpoint, and our house that we were living in got sold out under us, and we had to move. When we moved into our new house, it was a few months until my birthday, and I was really excited. My parents had prepared a party for me, and I invited all my friends from school, and all their parents came along. And I remember my parents hiring jumping castles and the works, and we just had a day. It was awesome in the middle of summer. Our family friend, she stayed for the evening, and my dad and her became friendly and were just dancing. And due to the state that my mom was in, she seemed to get really jealous and took it into her own hands to call this lady's boyfriend. He came to our house, just basically took out his anger on my dad and started hitting him, put him up against a wall. I don't know what eventually did make him stop, but after he did stop, my dad collapsed on the ground and we had to take him to hospital. He had a concussion. He was in hospital for a few days. And when he got out, my parents decided to separate, and not long after their separation, they decided to get divorced. It was that year that my brother went off to boarding school, so my mom and I were staying alone in the house. She wasn't working at the time, and my dad was giving her maintenance money to look after me. And with the maintenance money, she used it to support her drinking habits, rather than to provide for me. Instead of just buying alcohol and drinking, she would take me out with her to bars on certain nights of the week, on school nights. On one or two occasions I was left behind, and then I'd miss school the next day, and I just remember being really hungry, and my needs weren't provided for. After going home with so many different guys, she met a guy that she would see more than once, and he eventually became a boyfriend, and we pretty much moved in with him. I really didn't like him. I had no respect for him. I remember on the one occasion when we were at his house and he walked in and he slipped and he took all his anger out of my brother and he hit my brother. And I remember at that moment we both just decided that this is enough. We'd rather just leave. We couldn't handle it anymore. And it was from that point that I started living with my dad, and things were looking up. In grade 9, I met Matthew Partridge, and once we met, we just became like friends instantly. There's very few people in your life that you know when you meet them that they're going to be your friends forever. And it was through Matthew that I started going to Jubilee Youth. I wasn't very keen all the time, but Matt would always push me to go because he really wanted to go and he didn't want to go by himself. At the end of grade 9, got asked by our youth leaders if we'd like to go on a summer camp, and summer camp was amazing and we did so many fun activities. I was there on the first meeting and Steve started talking, and it was like everyone in the hall disappeared, and it was crazy. It was amazing, and he touched on forgiveness and really challenged us to look for people within our lives that we've struggled to forgive. I hadn't forgiven my mom, and I'd completely forgotten about that because I hadn't seen her in years. I started praying, and I really just asked God. I was like, God, I've tried in the past to forgive my mom, and I am honestly unable to. I don't know how. I can't. And I prayed and I prayed, and I can't explain it, and I don't think I ever will be able to put it into words. The feeling that I felt when God lifted this burden. And after camp, I got back and I gave her a call and I said, could we meet up? And when I saw her, I actually just ran up to her and I gave her a hug, and I told her, Mom, I've forgiven you, and I love you. And she just started crying on my shoulders, and I broke into tears as well. And that honestly was the most amazing day of my life, just to know that we could restart and rebuild that relationship that had been so broken and so torn apart. For me, getting to know God and to see what He has done in my life is just truly amazing, and He's so evident and so prevalent in so many different ways and so many different testimonies. I would really encourage people to seek God. Yeah, really just go wholeheartedly for it, because there's only one outcome, and that is best.